here in the future. All right, let's shift gears now and let's talk defensive side of the ball. Let's start same way we did just now with the game against Detroit. Who balled out for the defense? Guys, it's happening every week, and I don't know what to do. Isaiah McDuffie is playing outside of his mind. And I see people on X, and listen, I didn't comment. I'm not going to mention their name. I'm not trying to dunk on people. You can fan how you want to fan. But I see people cherry picking bad snaps on Isaiah McDuffie. If you're going to do that, then cherry pick on everybody. Okay. The reality is every player in the National Football League have bad plays. You want players who have way more good plays than bad plays. That's the nature of the business. That's how you identify the players who, all right, we can get the most out of that player. Is like Bill Belichick used to say. He used to get frustrated with the scouting department because they would come to him and talk about what a player couldn't do. Yeah, well, we got these 5 players that we like. He can't do this, 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 and this. This guy can't do this, 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 and this. And they said Bill would get so pissed off, and he go, stop telling me what they can't do. Tell me what they can do. What can they contribute to the football team? That's all that matters. I don't need to know a player's limitations. I need to know what do they do well, and are we in a position where we can put them in a situation consistently to do what they do well, right? As opposed to, if the moral of the story, you can find negatives with every player across the league. If all you harp on is the negative, you're not maximizing their potential and what they can do really, really well, if that makes sense. So I've seen people cherry picking this bad snap, that bad snap. Okay, now show the 55 good snaps. Stop cherry picking the bad ones, and let's identify what he does well. Isaiah McDuffie, guys, he's grading out like a top 10, but I think he's 7th now overall in the league in terms of 300 snaps. With at least 300 snaps, I believe was the number. He is the 7th best linebacker according to PFF. Against Detroit, 87.0 defensive grade. Run defense grade, 87.8. Tackle grade, 83.6. Coverage grade, 67.1. We knew he could play the run. I did not. I expected that coverage grade to be in the 50s, guys. Not based off what we've seen on Sundays. I'm just saying, like, in general, okay, if you'd have told me at the first of the year, Isaiah McDuffie's going to have to play in your nickel 4-2-5, I'd go, coverage is going to take a hit. 67.1 is pretty solid grade for someone who's a thumper and a run defender first. And again, when you look at why this defense has been so effective, it's their run defense mainly. Now, their pass defenses, last we checked, they were number 1. They were ranked first in the league in yards per pass attempt allowed. But their run defense and being able to make teams one-dimensional and taking their run away. Guys, going into this Detroit game, what was the talk? You guys remember what we talked about, what everybody talked about? The week before, Jahmyr Gibbs ran all over the New York Giants, ran for however many yards it was. It was like 300 all-purpose yards or 200 all-purpose, whatever it was. It was like, holy cow, how are the Packers going to stop him? What did we say on this particular program? We said, hey, listen, New York Giants have the worst run defense in the league. The Packers have a top 5 run defense. I'm not overly, because it needs to be emphasis, right? And you need to emphasize, hey, we got to stop the run first and foremost, and they did. What did Jahmyr Gibbs do on Thanksgiving? Nothing. What, he had like 60-some yards or 70-some yards rushing, right? So again, why is that? Isaiah McDuffie's a huge part of that. So again, stop the run first and foremost. More things can go wrong in the past, right? The old saying, what is it? And I know I'll always butcher it because I can't even remember who was the first person to say it. But they said when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen, and 2 of those 3 things are bad, right? So most teams want to press into and lean on the run. Stop it first and foremost. Isaiah McDuffie's great at that. So against the Lions, 87.0. Micah Parsons, 82.9 with a pass rush grade of 90.6. He's just so damn good. 2.5 sacks in that game. And again, run defense grade 67.7, not bad at all. I was told he was a bad run defender, right? Tackle grade 76.7, pass rush grade 90.6 for Micah Parsons. Unbelievable. Adrian Cooper came to play 73.6 with a run defense grade of 78.3. Coverage grade was a 59.6. So definitely better at playing the run, according to PFF, than the pass. Javon Bullard, I see your super chat, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll hit it here in just 1 second. Javon Bullard, 71.2 PFF grade. he just continues to get better. And the thing that really excites me, I know he can play the run. I'm not worried about these run grades being down. Look at the coverage grade, 75.3 coverage grade. Javon Bullard just continues to get better. Look at how he's improved. All right, let's look at this. Last year, 54.2 with a coverage grade of 49.0. This year, 67.9 with a coverage grade of 70.5. And again, you could see him getting better. You could see him getting better last year when they moved him to the slot. And we had to accept the fact that, okay, he's not a safety. He's a slot. He's a slot corner. Let him play in the slot and let him kind of get better. If you look at him on the year here, look how he's gotten better throughout the season, guys. 44, 61, 47, 58, and then the light switch came on. 71, 73, 69, 64, 66, 72, 68, 71. PFF grade on the season is now a 67.9, up from a 54.2. That's a huge year two leap. I'm really, really excited about Javon Bullard and what he's putting together. Next, you got Tyron Hopper. 17 snaps, 70.9. So he's your third linebacker right now when Quay's out. And I'm expecting Quay to probably be ready for the Chicago game. We'll see if we get some information here coming up Wednesday when the injury report drops. But a 70.9 for Tyron Hopper. Guys, I think he's a real deal. Look at the PFF grade last year. Only 18 snaps, 60.7. This year, only 55 snaps. Get it over 100, and you continue to grade out to 73.9 with a coverage grade of 75.6, a tackle grade of 77.8. Man, this is what we've seen in the preseason, and we always throw it out the window and go, it's preseason. Let's see what he does when the real bullets start flying. Tyron Hopper seems to be looks like a solid linebacker. Nose tackle, Nazir Stackhouse. This is a pleasant surprise, but we got to curb the enthusiasm. Only 5 snaps, right? So 69.6 was his PFF grade against Detroit. We climb into it. You can see it's been pretty bad this year, right? His overall defensive grade is a 46. However, that is his highest PFF grade on the season, albeit just 5 snaps. The other time was 10 snaps, a 69.3, which tells me when he's in there just playing nose and he's not having to fill in for other spots and them having to get a little bit crazy. Again, with our cheetah package, putting 3 pass rushers in, we've got that flexibility. You can kind of save Nas Stackhouse to just play nose. Good game, don't get me wrong, but only 5 snaps. I'm going to personally curb the enthusiasm there a little bit. It is exciting, though, to see what you potentially got there. For sure. Let me hit the super chat so it don't sit too long. Mike Witt, thank you so much, buddy. He says, got to be honest, I'm scared about the loss of Wyatt going into the Bears game. Brooks and Wooden are really going to need to step up. Maybe Brinson too. Completely agree, Mike. This defense plays better with Wyatt on the field. They just got to get creative here, man. We got to get creative with how we're going to play this on the interior. But, yeah, I think it is a huge loss, and it should not be minimized, man. Devontae Wyatt was kind of the straw that stirred the drink for this defense. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're going to miss him. That's for sure. But we need these guys to step up. And again, I think we'll lean a little bit more into our cheetah package. Don't be surprised by doing so, leaning in the cheetah package a little bit more. Maybe the run defense dips a little bit, but maybe the pass defense improves even more, right? That's just on the surface, very surface, thinking there, but we'll see how it shakes out. Evan Williams, 64.6. They gave him a 30.9 tackle grade. Evan's still having a solid year here, grading out a 72.7. You can see he's right where he was last year, gang. A little bit of ups and downs, but I love the fact that he's consistently in the 60s, right? 64.6, 67.6. Let's get out of those 50s. Let's stay in the 60s here, right? And, of course, his best game of the season was week 1 against Detroit with a 90.5. His second best was against Cincinnati with a 76.4. So I'm not concerned about Evan Williams. Just got to create a little bit more consistency. When you turn on the tape, he looks really good. There's several of those grades. I remember watching the tape back this season and going, I don't know why they graded him so low. I thought Evan played pretty good. And, again, PFF isn't everything. It's just one of many metrics we can use. So, on down the line here, Rashawn Gary looked like he had a bad game according to PFF. I agree with this one. I didn't notice Gary too much. A couple of times it seemed like he was in on the run stops, which is what he does. But Gary continues to kind of dwindle off here a little bit. He's down to a 68.2 on the season. Now, maybe he'll hit another burst like he did in the first part of the season and actually improve. But to me, it kind of seems like I'm glad Gary's on the team. And I think that Micah wouldn't have been as near as effective if Gary hadn't been on the team because he's still getting chipped a lot, things like that. Especially with him starting the season, he was actually on a higher sack pace than Micah was early in the year, right? But it does kind of feel like something's going to have to be done next year. Probably a restructure of the contract, or maybe they do move on from Gary and they let it become the LVN show. We'll see. But you can kind of see, man, starting the season 68, 73, 79, 82. I'm sorry, not starting the season, but on his season. Let's go backwards, or in let's go forward with his first season in the league. All right. 2019, his rookie year, 55, 68, 89, 82, 79, 73, 68. So you're seeing a steady decline, right, in terms of PFF grades. Now, again, run stops, I don't think they know how to grade the run defense as effective. And again, we don't know who's grading it. So I think he's been really, really good in run defense. But the pass rush is definitely tapering off. So when you look at it on the season, 63, 60, 75, 71, 68, 63, 83 against Pitt, 62, 45, 62, 63, 51. So Gary played his best ball, no doubt, the first 8 weeks of the season, right? Really, first 9 weeks of the season. So these last 4 weeks, he's starting to dip a little bit. Let's keep an eye on it. One of two things are going to happen. He's either going to completely hit the wall and we'll go, okay, writing's on the wall. Gary may not be here next year. Or he's going to spike back to what he was doing earlier in the season and finish the season strong, which he typically does. If you guys have noticed, I remember him being dominant in that San Francisco 49ers game that we lost at Lambeau Field. He's one of the few players that actually showed up to play that day. So maybe we'll get his best football on down the stretch. But when you look at the snap counts here, it's been steady all year long. The people that are trying to say that they're replacing him, with other players and snap counts, I think it was more schematics than anything. But this last game, he got 44 snaps. That's tied for his third most snaps of any game this season. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. But again, little concerned about Gary. He's been playing for a while now. He's coming up on 28 years old. We'll see what happens next season for sure. Super chat here from Mike. If Evan Williams doesn't make the Pro Bowl this year, then I don't even know what a Pro Bowler is. Love his play this year. Yeah, I could see him making the Pro Bowl, Mike. I could. Again, I don't put a whole lot of stock in the Pro Bowl. It's more about that All-Pro status and the top 100. I put more stock in the top 100 than anything on NFL Network. And people, I know they hear that and go, why? Because it's the actual players voting on it. It's the people who are playing the game that are going, yeah, that dude's a dog. I think them and the coaches know more about what's going on the field and who's actually playing well and who isn't than any website, whether it's NFL Pro, whether it's PFF grades, or I'll tell you another thing is us breaking down the tape. I try to do a good job breaking down the tape, but I promise you, if I had to decide between me and a player in the league or a former player, I'm always going to go, tell me what I missed, what we got here, right? And let's make sense of it. Those guys have forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. So, Evan Williams, though, I think he's putting himself in a position to make the Pro Bowl. I don't think that's unreasonable. So Gary, we got to him. Kobe Wooden had a bad game. And again, Devontae Wyatt, 45 snaps, 50.5 was his PFF grade. So let's kind of compare. So Brinson played 32 snaps. Back to the original question of, man, are we worried about Wyatt and how much he's going to miss here? Right? Let me hit this from Doug real quick. Yeah, Clay, my guess is they're asking Gary to contain more than rush. You can see it on the tape. You really can, Doug. And I know the Gary haters hate hearing that, but you can see kind of a cage rush from his side, and they're turning Micah loose. That's what you should do, right? And that's why Gary can still be effective in the run game. So, yeah, I think that's a good assessment. Back to defensive tackle. If we're overly concerned, right, that our defense is going to take a dip now that Devontae Wyatt is not in the lineup, right? Let's take a look here. Who had the most snaps on defensive tackle? So you have Wyatt with 45, okay, Kobe Wooden with 38, Brinson with 32. So essentially what you're talking about is you're going to have a third stringer, and I don't think it'll necessarily be a Nas Stackhouse because he's more of a nose tackle, but don't get me wrong, his snaps are going to increase. He'll probably be in about the 15 range, 10 to 15 range, I would imagine, maybe a little bit more. But when you look at these defensive linemen, I mean, that's a significant amount of snaps, right, guys? There was looks like 63 total snaps on defense. Kobe Wooden played 38. Warren Brinson played 32. Kobe is more of a one tech, in my opinion. Warren's more of a 3. So what you'll probably see is that combo out there the majority of the time. But you'll also see some of these edge rushers get more snaps too because of the fact that they're going to be probably pressing into Cheetah a little bit more. Not this week. The Bears like to run the football. You got to go out there and try to stop the run the same way you did against Detroit. Make Caleb Williams beat you with his arm. And when I say beat you with his arm, cage rush. Don't try to sack him. Don't go out there and go, all right, pin your ears back and go get him. He's going to make you look silly, right? What you need to do is a cage rush. Make Caleb Williams sit in the pocket and play quarterback. That's what you want, okay? If you can compress that pocket on Caleb Williams, imagine a cage rush, right, on the outside and having Micah lined up at Joker 1, helping press the middle of that pocket in on Caleb. That's going to be the recipe for beating Caleb Williams. Now, first and foremost, stop the run. Stop the run. Keep Caleb in the pocket. And I think you're going to come out of this game looking pretty nice. So it's going to be a tough game, though. NFC North, man. Throw the records out the window. In this case, you can say keep the records in there, and it's going to be a tough game, right? But moving along. So I just want to point that out. I don't think anything's going to drastically change. We played without Wyatt this year, and it wasn't great, right? The defense did take a dip. But these guys have more reps now. I think we're more equipped now than we were early in the season where these guys were kind of thrust into the spotlight, right? So Carrington Valentine, according to PFF, had a horrible game, 30.7. Just want to mention that. I'll have to go back and really watch the ISO on him and try to figure out, okay, what happened to Carrington and see if I agree with it or not. Because sometimes what happens with these PFF grades is the Uber driver who's grading the tape, and you guys know what I mean by that. That's not me making assumptions. That's people have confirmed. Anyway, I'll go back and watch the tape and go, okay, that there was 2 catches that Carrington gave up, right? Or whatever the number is. And they may have logged it as 5 because they don't know what the coverage call was. I don't even know what the coverage call is, but you guys see in real time on Chalk Talk how we try to determine what the coverage is. Okay, no, that's a cover 6, which means he's actually matching. He's matching the 1 on a vert here because we're on the half side, which means if he gives something up underneath, PFF will give him a negative grade. When in all honesty, in the meeting room, they'll probably give them a 0, which is just a neutral grade. You get a -2, a 0, a -2 to a +2. And if you're playing a cover 6 and he's on the 2 side and it's a match coverage and a guy beats him underneath, they're not going to give him a negative play on that because his top priority is flip your hips and don't let them beat you over the top. Now, they're not going to give you a positive play. They'll probably just say, okay, you did your job there. That's what we asked you to do. And that's the stuff that PFF doesn't get. So just want to mention that. So there are your grades against the Detroit Lions on defense. Now let's shift gears to what the defensive grades look like on the season. Here are your top defensive players according to PFF. Let's go back to 6-ish real quick. That missed tackle made him look bad. I know, but I didn't notice much blown coverage, maybe a little. That's a great point. He did miss 2 tackles, 2 huge tackles, right? But again, you're not – Carrington Valentine's not out there to be a run stopper, right? You want him to make that play. And I believe Keyshawn makes that play. I believe Bullard makes that play. But again, I feel like Carrington's a better cover corner than both of those guys, right? So put them in a position to do what they do well. And other teams get paid too. Those coaches get paid to watch the tape and try to create situations where you get a running back or a receiver underneath in space with Carrington Valentine, right? So, yeah, I'm with you. 6-ish, I think that's very, very accurate there, buddy. All right, so PFF grades on the season. We'll get ready to wrap this thing up. Micah Parsons, 91.9 on the season. What else can you say? He is balling out. Isaiah McDuffie up to an 80.0 on the season. Again, minimum 300 snaps. Actually, it might have been 330 snaps. He's the 7th highest graded linebacker in the league right now. Xavier McKinney up to a 75.2. Edgerrin Cooper, 74.8. Tyron Hopper, 73.9. Lucas Van Ness, 73.4. Let's get his butt back on the freaking field because I think he's popping this year as long as that foot don't continue to nag him, right? Evan Williams, 72.7. Rashawn Gary, 68.2. Javon Bullard up to a 67.9. Carrington Valentine, even with that horrible grade, still grading out a 67.0. Solid grade. Solid grade for a 7th-round pick. Keyshawn Nixon, 65.8. Kingsley Enagbare, 64.3. Kobe Wooden, 60.5. What's crazy is people have been very impressed with Devontae Wyatt, right? I think we would all agree. We say the defense is different when he's in there. Kobe Wooden's grading out a 60.5. Devontae Wyatt's grading out a 52.9. Warren Brinson is right there in PFF grade with Devontae Wyatt. So we'll see how it plays out. Carl Brooks, too, is going to be coming back soon, I would hope. He's a 56.7. That's one guy that we're completely leaving out of the equation. Once Carl Brooks is healthy and we can get him back on the field, hopefully that happens this week, although I haven't heard anything there. that's another guy who's going to fill in a role there, right? So you can take a little pressure off of your Warren Brinson, right? Because Carl, if I remember correctly, last year, Carl played one tech. So what they may do is they may have Kobe continue to play one tech since he's got a lot of experience this year and what Hafley's doing different this year than last year, especially with the Joker one looks, and let Carl pick up some slack on the three tech. So again, if Carl Brooks is available this week, and I don't know if he is, I don't know if he's going to be, but he's going to take some of that pressure off of Warren Brinson. So that's great news. Again, just to recap, 5 players that are balling out. Really, there's more than 5. Let's just go everybody at 65 or above. The reason this defense is having success: Micah Parsons 91, Isaiah McDuffie 80, Xavier McKinney 75, Edgerrin Cooper 74, Tyron Hopper 73, Lucas Van Ness 73, Evan Williams 72, Rashawn Gary 68, Javon Bullard 67, Carrington Valentine 67, Keyshawn Nixon 65. Honorable mention here, Kingsley Enagbari with a 64. So those are the players that are balling out on defense for your Green Bay Packers. If you're watching this video back later, let me know in the comments what you think about the defensive side of the ball. Do you agree with those players? Do you agree with PFF? Is there a player that you think is maybe graded lower than they're actually playing, or maybe vice versa? There's one of these players they're grading extremely high, and you say, hey, Clayton, no, I disagree with that. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. Appreciate everybody jumping in here such a short notice early in the morning. We, like I said, just want to get a pod out to you guys and a little bit of coverage here before we go into the long day of shopping. Pray for you, boy. Pray for you, boy. The wallet's going to take a hit. I said this the other day. I don't know if you guys agree. I can go out and put in a 14-hour day doing landscaping, doing concrete work, something like that, and not be near as tired as 3 hours shopping with Mandy. I'm exhausted. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what it is. Let me know in the comments on that. Forget football. Let me know what you think about that. If I lost my mind, am I crazy? Because I'm telling you, I go out and shop for a couple hours, and I'm like, I need to get home. I need a cup of coffee, and I need to sit on my couch for a minute. But anyway, it's Christmas season, so we're going to try to work everything in around everything we got going on with the family. So you're going to get more live streams like this, which means make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified when we do this. All right. That's it, guys. We'll see you probably a little later this afternoon. I'm going to try to put another show out about 2 or 3 o'clock. I got to start putting Chalk Talk together. I've already dove into the tape, 3 passes through. We'll put that together, do that tomorrow. So we'll get the guys back in here this evening. Had a little bit of a sickness issue last night. We got through it. So we should be back live again this evening. So again, probably around 2 or 3, we'll try to go live if we can make that happen, and then later tonight. But appreciate y'all. This is PTA. My name's Clayton. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
We're out.
Bye, guys.